Thank you for joining us at TRP Live, a program created by the Reclamation Project, the folks who believe in no soul left behind. We hope to have candid discussion on real issues that impact real people and to showcase stories that edify the Christian journey, like tonight. So we welcome you. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Dent, and on tonight we have a young lady. We're going to do part two on the lady's journey from Bakersfield to Los Angeles. Let's bring her in now, and she's full of life, she's full of joy, and she has a beautiful story that she would like to share with us. But before she does, let me just give a quick little overview on her story. First time, I want to highlight just a few parts, and then I'm going to give her an opportunity. First, I want to thank you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for your beautiful, because you just lighten up the room. So I want to thank you for lighting up.
No problem.
So no one receives an email, no one receives a text, and no one receives a lotto ticket whose family they're going to be a part of. We just don't know. We come out, you come out, and you made some noise, as I did too. And that noise is a good thing that we are in the land of the living. Actually, no. You've been fighting all the time since you came out of the hospital. And God has empowered you. You have a powerful story. You came into you had a family unit, and that family unit slowly began to dissipate. And you were transferred from one grandparent to another grandparent. You had a skill set. You found some joy in running, but it did not complete you. Every time you crossed the finish, here's your trophy on number one, sometimes number two, but more times number one. And then something happened that you actually needed. God sent you a human angel, your coach, and he began to navigate and help you and lead you. And unfortunately, that human coach became a threat to someone that was close to you, and he was somewhat removed from your life. And then you went on, you made some decisions, you made some tough decisions while working and starting a family. And you posed yourself this question: what's love got to do with it? And you begin to find love, but you found out that that wasn't the right definition. But because of the outcome in experimenting and getting involved, you birthed your first beautiful daughter. And she came into this world and you nurtured her. Now you said to yourself, I'm going to education because I have another. That's one. Two, what's your strong point? Your brain. God bless you with a smart brain. And how did you know you were smart? Simple. You said, when the teacher told me to come to the class and spell this word, little Julie over there, she was a speller, she was spelling and miss it. And the teacher asked you, can you spell it? You said, yes, da 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 da. Good job. And give you a little pen. And you left the classroom every day with confidence that I was smart and I was able to do it. Now, that was the last time that was in part. Now, I want to just share with you, pose a question to you. Take us from, you already got your BA degree, take us on the journey from your master's degree, take us to the end of the job, and let's Bakersfield tonight so we can head to Los Angeles. Is that all right?
Okay. Okay. So after my BA, since that's where we're starting, I was still in Bakersfield. I actually was working on my bachelor's degree when I got incarcerated. So I'm not going to say I wasn't serious. At that time, I knew what I needed to do, but I had not fully committed to who I was meant to be. And I say that because I was still on the fence. You know, we talk about being on the fence a lot. And what I mean by that is still being in the streets and still wanting a career, still wanting, you know, to have a family and to be stable. I didn't really know what that looked like. So I didn't have a full desire for it because it wasn't something that I had ever had. So it wasn't like I was missing anything, from my opinion, because I had never had a taste of it. So, like I said, I was on the fence, and I was on the fence because I had met so many different individuals while trying to get my bachelor's degree that made me, question what I was doing and really go back to what you just spoke about, me being smart, me having a lot of good education, me having a lot of resources, and not really needing to do the things that I was doing. So my personal life and my professional life were overlapping at that time. And I was conflicted within myself. And so going to jail actually is what woke me up, because I think I mentioned in the first show, I was at a point where I was trying to change my life. That process had already started. But when I went to jail, it stopped that. But it made me realize that God was trying to tell me to clean everything up, because once again, I was half stepping. I wasn't fully committed to changing. And when I went to jail, I had to change. If I wanted to get that bachelor's degree, I wanted to have that career, I wanted to fully commit and help others, I had to make the commitment to myself to change. And so, like I mentioned in the last show, while I was in there, a lot of my experiences, a lot of the conversations I had with, the people that were in jail with me, that I had with the correctional officers, because some of them knew me and knew my family, it made me have that aha moment. And so with having that aha moment, I was like, okay, once I get out, this is it. I'm not, doing anything else. I'm not associating with the individuals that I was associating with previously, because I want to fully change. And I can't do that unless I fully commit, just like I've been doing to my education. I had never committed to anything else ever in my life but school. And that was because I knew that I could do it. I had gotten so much positive reinforcement from going to school that I had not received in any other area in my life. So I had put my all into school because I knew that I would get a lot back from that. And so I told myself, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to stop half stepping. I'm going to fully commit to a career now and to changing my life. And so when I did that, things started to change. Like I said, as soon as I got out, the school helped me get back in the groove. They had saved my spot in my classes. So even though I wasn't able to continue and get my bachelor's degree with the individuals that I started with, I was able to still continue with the cohort after me and still get a degree once again. I wasn't dropped from school, which a lot of individuals who, were out for an extended amount of time were not able to maintain their spot. I was able to do that, not by myself, but because I had that support system. So all of those things, once I made the conscious decision to commit once again, I was able to fully be embraced or embrace my education, change my lifestyle, and really acknowledge the healthy individuals that were in my life.
Let me ask you a quick question. What type of grades did you get? Because if they were satisfied, I can tell that you don't settle for B's. So what type of grades were you actually getting?
I had A's and B's consistently through my bachelor's and my master's degree. I had one of my teachers when I graduated tell me, she was like, I don't know how you did it. Do you remember that night you came in crying, saying you didn't think you were going to be able to make it? It's time for you to drop out. You needed to take a break. And I was like, yeah, I remember that. And she said, we thought that was it for you, and, by the grace of God, I was able to continue to go on, still pass that class with an A. I think there was only one class, and I'm not sure which class it was, but there was one class that I did get a C in. And that was because I went to jail So I wasn't able to finish everything, but I had a good grade up until the time that I went. And so I ended up getting a C. But other than that, I received A's and B's. I think I had a 3.83 GPA when I finished. And so that was another reason that I was able to get the support and encouragement and everything that I got.
Okay, that's cool. Now, help us leave Bakersfield. What happened? How did you decide to leave Bakersfield? Who did you have to communicate with? And who did you choose not to communicate with? And how did you leave? Give us that process.
Okay. So for me, it's been a struggle even getting to the point that I'm at now. Yes, I am an associate marriage and family therapist, but I am striving to be a licensed marriage and family therapist. And so with that being said, I believe in 2016, I was given the opportunity from an individual in Bakersfield to work for a program through probation. So that was the first job that gave me an opportunity, even though I had a record, because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but even though my record is expunged, when I apply for jobs that do fingerprinting as a background check, my record still comes up. So a lot of employers will not employ me for that reason because I'm a liability in their eyes. So there was a job, the GEO Group, that gave me an opportunity. They did not care about my record. They did not care, that I had a past. They were looking for individuals with lived experience, learned experience, that education, and just the resiliency and the determination that I had. And they gave me an opportunity. They actually opened my eyes to a lot of things, built my self-esteem, and they gave me the drive to pursue my license. Because after I graduated, I did turn in my paperwork to receive my license, but I was denied. I appealed that denial, and I know a lot of people probably don't know a lot about that. So anytime you're getting any type of employment with the state, you have to get fingerprinted. And once again, most jobs will not allow you to continue if you have a record, whether it's expunged or not, no matter how many years it is, depending on what type of crimes they were. And because my crime is considered a crime against the government, I was not able to go into certain positions. So it's very difficult for me, once again, to be able to get jobs that correlated with my degree, which was my bachelor's was in human services. My master's, once again, is in marriage and family therapy. So after I graduated, I sent in my paperwork to be able to become licensed and work on my hours, but they denied my paperwork because of my background. Once again, with me, I'm very determined. I do not take no for an answer. So I immediately sent my paperwork back in, appealing their decision and telling them why I felt I was good enough to receive my associate degree. It took 2 years because I received it in 2018. So it took 2 years for them to actually give me my associate number, which was a blessing. It's a testimony in itself, because everybody that I went to school with got their number immediately after we graduated, about 2 months after. I received mine 2 years after. So it shows my determination, my resiliency, how much I had to fight. And I did have to fight, because I always say, once again, like I stated in the first show, I had 4 strikes against me. I'm a woman, I'm Black, I had a felony, and I was educated. So those are things that a lot of individuals do not like. So I represented myself, as I always do, because once again, we don't always have the money to pay for a lawyer or to get help from someone else. But because I have that education, because I am patient and I am determined, I read everything on my own, and I made sure that everything that they asked me for, I provided. Everything that they stated I had to do, I did that. And I went above and beyond to make sure that they could not tell me no the second time, because they had to give me a valid reason on why they were telling me no. And so I did that. And finally, in 2018, I received my associate number. So my job that I was at, they supported me. They were extremely happy. They wanted to keep me there. So they did offer me a different position, but I wanted to be a therapist. That's what I had gone to school for. That's, what I had studied for. And that's what I was going to do. Nobody was going to tell me that that's not what I was going to do. So I thanked them, but I told them, no, I'm going to find a job in my field because that's where I belong. And I've worked so hard to get here. I want to give back. So I'm going to continue to push forward. It looks like you had something where you're going to.
Hey, stop using your therapy stuff on me. No. I just want to say your story is beautiful and it's flowing. So I want to try to get technical stuff.
Okay.
How did this transition affect your leaving Bakersfield and you relocated in the Los Angeles area? How did it affect your daughter, singular, or your daughters, or maybe they share that with us?
Okay, so with the transition, prior to the transition, I got hired in a therapist position in Kern County. So I was excited, and I started work there as a therapist. I thought I was doing great. And I did have an issue there with a supervisor that did not feel that someone who had a record was fit to work under her. So with that being said, I didn't settle. Once again, I learned that I did have a voice and I did push back, but it did not pan out well for me. So what I did is, once again, I said, this is not going to discourage me. I'm going to work in the field. And even though I knew that Kern County was a place that did not welcome African-American women, they did not welcome individuals that had lived experience unless you were benefiting them. It really took a toll on me. So I was blackballed in Kern County and I wasn't able to get a therapist position. They let me go and I wasn't able to get another position as a therapist. So what I did, once again, me being me, I said, they're not going to kill my spirit, and what God has for me, I definitely will have, no matter how long it takes, because it had already taken me 2 years to even get to that point. So I worked for Apple for about 2 months. And that entire time, or actually prior to even getting hired in Kern County, I had been applying for jobs, not only in Kern County, but in the Los Angeles area, because I did not believe I would get picked up in Kern County. So as I start applying again in Bakersfield and I'm working at Apple, they're promoting me within a month. I'm promoted to a supervisor. And, of course, I'm overqualified for the position, but once again, I don't care about that because I'm used to working my way up from the bottom. So I'm there and I'm enjoying myself and I'm talking to people and I'm doing what I do within Apple. I'm counseling people. I'm, encouraging people, and I'm being the best me I can be. And one day I get a call from a job in Los Angeles and they tell me, we see that you have experience with the TAY population, which is transitional age youth. We see that you have a story and we want to interview you. And I'm, I'm like, I don't know, I like to have all my ducks in a row. I don't have a place to live out there. I just don't know if I want to do this and if I'm ready right now. But then God also told me, you're ready. If you're not ready now, you're never going to be ready. And we're putting this in front of you. And if you're going to take it, this is the time to take it. So I prayed about it. I didn't talk to anyone about it. I didn't tell my family. I continued to pray. And then, one day I just woke up and I said, I'm going to do it. You know, I have a vehicle. I can get to work every day. I can commute if that's what I have to do in the beginning. You know, I had a friend that lived in LA that I was really close with. And I was like, I know that if I really need it, I can, you know, ask her if I can stay with her a couple of nights out the week. But I did not want to do that. But I just took that leap of faith. My daughter at the time was in transitioning in the or she was at the point where it was time for them to take their finals. And so I did not want to uproot her and take her to LA as well. So I was really conflicted on what I could do, what I should do. And I just didn't know what I was going to do. I started off and I kept my place in Bakersfield. I'm commuting. I'm staying with my friend maybe 2 days out the week, but the majority of the week I'm driving home because I'm like, I don't want to be a burden on anybody. I don't want to ask anyone for anything because I don't want it thrown in my face. And I just don't want to have to lean on anyone because that's not something that I've ever had to do. And I wasn't comfortable doing it. So I continued to drive back and forth. You know, I kept my apartment, like I said, and my daughter continued to go to school on her own. You know, I had family in Bakersfield, but once again, I really didn't lean on them. I asked my cousin to check in on her because she lived next door, and I would just call and, you know, check on them, making sure everything was okay. That obviously took a toll on me, and it just wasn't working. So I made the decision to fully transition to LA. I stayed with my friend and I was so thankful for her. I stayed with her, I want to say about a month or two. I went in and out. You know, I didn't fully stay with her, but I was, you know, using her home. And I found a place down the street from her house. And I was like, this is nothing but God. But then that place fell through. And I was like, man, you know, what am I going to do? I've already put in my 30-day notice. I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't even know how this happened, but I know I've mentioned that my grandparents on my father's side are Muslim. I was interacting with a young lady that was Muslim that through my job. And one day she just said, hey, you know, my mom is managing some apartments. And I know you said you were looking for a place. Are you still looking? And I was like, yeah, you know, I am looking. You know, how soon are they looking for somebody? And, you know, I just already started in. I'm like, how soon are they looking for somebody to move in? I didn't even know if they had anything. And she was like, actually, you know, she's showing the place today. Can you go? And I was like, yeah, where is it? It ended up being one street over from my friend that I was staying with. And I was like, this is nothing. But I was like, look at God, you know? So I walked over and met the lady because literally it was literally like across the street. I walk over there and I start talking to the lady. I give her the greeting and she's like, oh, you're Muslim? I said, no, I'm not Muslim. I'm Seventh-day Adventist, but my family is Muslim. And, you know, we start talking about that. She shows me the place and, you know, she's like, you know, I see that you're a sister that's in need and you don't even have to talk to them. We're going to make sure you get this place. And, you know, I moved in immediately. I didn't have to do a credit check. I didn't have to do literally nothing. They allowed me to move in. And, you know, once again, by the grace of God, everything worked out. I felt so blessed because I did not have to struggle. I did not have to beg. I did not go without anything. You know, my vehicle was secure enough for me to get on that freeway every day. And my daughter was safe enough to be able to stay in my old apartment before we transitioned until we moved. And, you know, I got to that point where it was time to bring her. I had an issue because I did reach out to my family and I was in the beginning extremely angry because I felt like I did not get any support. And I told them, you know, that was one of the reasons that I had pulled away. because when I really need it and I am trying to do something positive and I do have everything set up, I could not get any help. But I think that often happens, when you're doing wrong in the world, people will come and they will help you. And when it's time for you to do right, that's when you feel alone. But I had to also realize that that was another point for me to see that God had everything lined up for me already. But I didn't know that until actually now today. But just to go back, I did separate myself from my family, because I was once again upset. I felt like I didn't have any support. I felt alone. So I just uprooted my daughter and I took her to LA with me. Once again, God was with me because me not knowing the LA area, not knowing how to even, get situated there, he set everything up. He put my daughter in a school where she was bused. She goes to a really good school. I didn't find out until everyone else in the LA area told me, because she goes to Westchester. And they always tell me, like, that's an amazing school. How'd you get her in there? But once again, it was God, because I didn't know anything about the school. I sent her to that school because she wanted to be a veterinarian. And this was a science school that specialized in that. So they were like, okay, this is a school that's a magnet school, and we'll bus her in and out. The bus stop ended up being a couple of streets over, which was a blessing because I didn't have to take her far every day to get her on the bus. She could walk if she needed to. I could drop her off at the bus stop. So everything worked out exactly how it was supposed to. But it really took a toll this year. My daughter is a senior this year, and we were contacted the middle of last year because of COVID. We were contacted and they said that her entire 10th grade year in Bakersfield was null and void because of when I took her out of school. And it literally broke my heart. It broke me down because I could see in my daughter's face, because she had struggled so much to even get where she was at. And she had worked so hard. And now her entire 10th grade year wasn't valid because I had taken her out at a time that was extremely important to her. And so that really took a toll on me because once again, I had to go back to that place where I was like, did I make the right decision? Was I selfish, and did it affect my child? And so it really hurt me. And I began to once again look at my family in a negative light because I was like, if only you guys would have helped me, we would not be going through this. And my daughter would not have to, experience this. And I was really, really angry for a long time. I was hurt. I was frustrated because it was more work, not only for her, or I'm not even going to say for me, but it was more work for her. And she was not at a place or I felt she wasn't at a place where she could do what she needed to do. And it was showing in her grades. It was showing in her, just in her engagement in school. It was showing in everything. And so I was really sad. And I was really hard on myself. But I do know now, once again, that everything happens for a reason. And God didn't put it more on me or my daughter than we could bear. Because my daughter is a trooper, and I know that she got it from me. And I can truly say that because I always say, when my back's against the wall, that's when I work best. And my daughter showed up and showed out. And she's graduating with her class and on time. And she's graduating, when she had all F's, she brought her grades up to C's. So for me, that's a testimony because she did it within a month of, us getting that information and her just kind of giving up, I would say, because that's what I seen. She gave up, but then she brought it right back. And she showed
Let
everybody
me.
what she could do.
I asked you this before. To ask you again, and I kind of know the answer, but I just want you to say, and I'm giving you to compose yourself. Strength comes from God. Look at the humanistic aspect. The family not supporting. Every time you needed them, they were nowhere to be. I know a lot of families can do that. And it seems like, but if your family called on you, you'll be right there, knocking on the door, seeing how much you can, how you can. How, when did you realize that you were put on this earth so you can totally be dependent on God? Where did this transform? When did it happen? Bakersfield, or did it happen at the end of Bakersfield, leaving coming to LA, or did you just it happen within
Mm,
last?
Honestly, it's happened during COVID. It's happened since my current job. Because even that first job that I moved to LA for, I was there for a year and I transitioned into the job that I'm at now, which is at the Ahmad Institute. My job is amazing. My boss is amazing. My colleagues are amazing. If I would not have found them and they would not have found me, I don't know where I would be. And I say that because they are my family. They brought me in, they did not judge me. They allowed me to tell my story and they accepted me for who I was unapologetically. I do work for an agency that's unapologetically Black. So that has also allowed me to find myself. I did not know who I was before I came here. I think LA allowed me to find myself because it's so diverse. Just living in Kern County, there's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of isolation. There's not a lot of diversity. And so coming here, I was able to be accepted by a lot of different populations. But I not only was I able to allow them to accept me, I accepted myself. And I think that was the biggest step and the biggest change for me. Because even with doing that, I know I share that I'm in therapy because therapists do need therapy. My therapist has helped me a lot, even just with my family. I don't blame them for anything. I'm not upset with them for not helping me because maybe they did need to help me. Maybe that's what I needed to be able to, be the woman that I was meant to be because I wasn't doing that previously. So everything that they gave me, everything that they did not give me, it was for a reason. And it actually nurtured the person that's sitting in front of you guys today. So I appreciate it now, but when it was happening, I wasn't at a place where I could appreciate it. I was at a place where I was still, blaming and pointing the fingers at others and not taking accountability for who I was and the things that I had done. And I'm no longer that person, so now today I really appreciate all of those struggles because it made my children stronger. It made me stronger. It made me view things differently. It made me appreciate the struggles that my parents went through, my grandmother went through, my aunts and uncles went through, because I couldn't understand that before. And I can now, and so me coming into this field, me gaining all this knowledge and education, and then, overlapping it with my personal experience, this is where I was meant to be. And those things were things that I was meant to go through.
That's beautiful. There's an old school song that says, "Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry it on."
Yes.
Now, uh, describe to us the relationship between your oldest daughter and your youngest daughter. Do lean on each other, or through this trial and tribulation, was your youngest daughter able to call your oldest daughter and talk, or did she just focus on mommy?
Well, previously, no. But once again, since moving, I have grown a lot as well. So one thing that I do make sure that I do with my children is make sure that they know that they have each other, because I didn't have that growing up. So I want them to make sure that they know that they have one another, they can lean on one another, and I want them to know what that looks like, because I didn't know what that looks like and I didn't have anyone. So I've taught them to stand on their own. I've taught them to that they don't need anyone. And so I had to backtrack and make them aware that we all need somebody. And just because I didn't have anybody, I don't want to push that on them, because they have someone. They have me, they have their fathers, and they have each other. I didn't have those things. So that's why I had to operate the way that I did, and I don't, because they looked at me a lot. And of course, your children learn from you. I didn't want them to go throughout life, mimicking the things that I did, because it wasn't healthy. So I had to model the appropriate behaviors and those healthy behaviors so they would be able to engage with one another. I had to tell them, you guys need to at least talk to one another once a week. But I also had to model that, because that's not something that I did, and I had that conversation with my daughter. I didn't have a relationship with my mother. We don't talk on a regular basis. We are not that engaged with one another. So I told my daughter, I'm going to make it a point to call you once a week, or even if it's just texting you once a week. We have to communicate, because we're going to break that cycle. So that was something that I made sure that I did. And then I started to make sure she did that with my other daughter, so they could have a relationship outside of me. Because I always tell them, we don't know when our last day is going to be. I may not be here forever.
Yeah.
So you guys may have to rely on one another. And we see how the interaction has been with our family, not saying that they wouldn't pick up the slack if I wasn't here. But if you don't have to ask for help, you're not going to have to ask for help. You can lean on your sister.
Man, you have an awesome story. Going through your journey from being to where you are now, it's so beautiful to hear that the job that you have now is perfect. See,
Yes.
you went through these steps to get to where you are now, where you love them, they love you,
Yes.
you accept them, they accept you. You may call in and say, I'm running a little late. No problem. You still get paid. We're not going to dock you. And you're like, wow, I didn't get that in the other places. So I'm saying that for that we as believers, we as brothers and sisters in Christ are just here. We have to learn how to show gratitude and then eliminate the attitude. And I don't hear struggle anymore. That's why on the intro, I was careful on how I paint your story, because I didn't want to keep on hammering the negative, because I see a positive woman. I see a changed woman. I said, by beholding, you become changed, and I see a new person, and you're doing an awesome job. Now, let's go a little further. You've established a new order in your life.
Yes.
How does relationship at this time? Are you looking, or are you still trying to build and work on your relationship? Share that.
Well, I am looking. But what I am working on is, once again, putting just as much time and effort into my personal relationships that I did into my education, because I did not do that previously. So a lot of my relationships have fallen short. I don't have a lot of relationships because I did isolate myself while I was on my journey. So now my goal and my focus is building healthy relationships. If I feel like it's a relationship that is important enough for me to rekindle, I am working on those things as well. I'm working on, once again, holding myself accountable and knowing what part I played in relationships, if they have fallen short or, been all the way eliminated, and just trying to stay true to who I am as a person. Because once again, I know who I am now. And so I'm at a point where if I can't be real with you and if I can't be me all the time, then maybe that's not the best space for me to be in. But also knowing how to set those boundaries and wear different masks at different times. That's something that I talk about a lot with my clients, because we do have to do that, sometimes professionally at work, or, with our family, or just in our everyday lives. Sometimes you have to wear a mask and you have to know how you're going to carry yourself in those different, areas or those different spaces. And so I've worked on that a lot. And so I feel like I now know how to do that. So I'm very careful with how I articulate myself or how I engage with certain people, especially if I know that they're trying to build a certain type of relationship. I'm very clear with what I expect or what I'm looking for or how I am or what I have experienced. Because I think a lot of people, first of all, perception is huge. So a lot of people, some people judge me in the beginning if they already know a little bit about me. They think they know everything about me. So I'm very careful with what I give them. And I may start off differently with our relationship until they're able to really fully understand the full me, because I am a lot. But also, because I am a therapist, I just know how to engage with people. So I do tread very lightly with what I share a lot of the time and with how people view me. But when I get to that point where I feel like it's time for me to show my true self, if our relationship is moving forward, then I do that as well.
Beautiful. Now, I want to go here, but knowing you, any direction I go, I think you're able to follow. What are the three things that you're looking for in a male relationship? Three things that you're looking for.
Three things. I am looking for someone, obviously, I want him to have some type of spiritual foundation. I'm not going to say that they have to be a certain religion, because I've met a lot of different people that I can relate to on a lot of different levels that aren't Seventh-day Adventists. But I do want him to have some type of spiritual background. I want him to be able to communicate, because I think that that's extremely important. And now, because of the things that I've been through and because of where I'm at in my life and the job that I do need someone who's able to communicate. But I know this is going to be funny, but I'm going to just say it because, once again, I'm very transparent. I also want someone who has some type of life experience, because I have a lot of life experience and I am a lot to handle. So I need someone that is not judgmental, that, has some type of background and that can relate to the things that I've been through, because I do find that a lot of individuals that don't have lived experience do judge me a lot. And once they get to know me, they're impressed with me, but I'm not looking for someone to be impressed with me. I'm just looking for someone to accept me for who I am.
Beautiful. You know what? The thing that you said, you may laugh on. I totally agree with you. But there's one component you didn't say, and I was quite surprised. You didn't say nothing about no J-O-B.
Well, if you know how to communicate and you got a foundation, and I would hope that you got, of course you have to have a job, but the reason that I did not say that, and I'm gonna be very transparent, is because, once again, I feel like a lot of men judge me before they know me. I don't tell people what I do. They may know what I do if maybe they're on my Facebook or they watch certain shows that I do, but I don't outright tell people what I do. And the reason I don't do that is if I tell someone I'm a therapist, the first thing they think is I have some money, and I don't. And if I tell somebody, like if they don't know that I'm a therapist and they just know about my background, they assume that I don't have any money and that I don't have any type of education, and they judge me that way. If someone meets me and they just know I have a job, but they don't know anything about my background, and I start to share, a lot of men judge me as well and feel like I'm not good enough. So I've been in a lot of different situations where either I'm not sophisticated enough in their opinion, or my history is too much for them because I have a felony or a background, or they're wondering why I'm not further in my life and I'm a therapist. And then I explain everything and they're looking at me crazy. So, I mean, that's why I don't necessarily say the job thing, because once again, I think that that's I don't want to say a stereotype, but I think that's being judgmental. I have been in positions where I didn't have a job, but I'm still a good woman.
Right. So you don't mind if a guy has a job because you don't want to pay every go out.
Oh yeah, no. I want you to have some type of goals. Let me say that. You have to have some goals. So maybe in college and you're not working, but yeah, you gotta. Yes, I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was going. I'm trying to make it clear that you're not going to just come and sit on the couch.
Yes, I'm making that. Well, let me make that clear. I don't want anybody that's just sitting at home, playing video games. I don't care if you're getting paid for them. I need you to still have some type of drive, some type of goals, because where I'm at in my life and everything that I've been through, I'm only getting better, and it's up from here. So I don't want somebody that's not going to contribute to what I'm doing. I need a team player.
We're on the same page. You look for a minute. I said, hey, come on back. Back. So, yeah. So let's shift just a little. How's your relationship with God? Have you talked to him more? Are you praying more? Or are you just living the life that's going?
Oh no, my relationship with God, I think, is great. It's better than it's ever been. I've always had a relationship with God, but I think, like most of us, as we're children, we don't really know how to pray, or we don't really know what that really means. And so my relationship has gotten stronger once again since I've moved to Los Angeles, because I've seen everything that he's done in my life. Previous to that, I wasn't really aware of the things he was doing in my life because I had not opened my eyes to even be able to see those things. Now I'm very aware. So anytime a blessing falls in my lap, I know. And that's basically every day because he's definitely, he's blessing me. And so I pray more, I talk to my children about him. Even though I'm not going to church every weekend, I talk to people at my job about God. I talk to my clients about God. Once again, my job is a very different type of environment. We pray at work. We do a lot of things together. So I'm very thankful once again that I've landed a job that is like my family. It's a community, and I get things from that job that I've never gotten ever in my life. So if I were to ever fall short at home with praying or feeling like I couldn't go on, I know that I can reach out to my colleagues. I know I can go to work and they're going to pray with me. I know that it's a safe space where I'm not going to be judged. And that's another reason I'm so thankful today.
That is so beautiful. So tell us a little bit about your oldest child. So your youngest child is getting ready to graduate from high school.
Yes.
And does she have college goals or aspirations? What she wants to do?
She did.
And then tell us about your oldest daughter.
Okay, my youngest wants to be a veterinarian. So yes, she has already signed up. Actually, where I work, we have a program for youth. And she's going to do an internship at one of the veterinarian offices here in Los Angeles. So I'm extremely happy about that. Once again, God put me in a place where I'm able to benefit on a lot of different levels. And so that's a blessing because that's helping me stay healthy and feel supported. But not only that, with my oldest daughter, she is here in Los Angeles now, her and her boyfriend. I'm very proud of her and him. She is just kind of chilling right now. She's not doing too much, but she's living her life. We have a very good relationship. She was living in Monterey Bay, going to CSU Monterey Bay previously, but she moved out here to be closer to me and my youngest daughter. So our relationship, once again, is growing. We definitely are growing as a family. I make sure I've always been very family oriented, once again, because I'm an only child and I like to have that engagement, that family engagement. So I try to do pretty much anything and everything I can with them. Any chance I get, whether it's, having dinner or getting together on holidays or whatever the case may be. So I'm always calling my daughter. She has been, in isolation because of COVID, because she is big on making sure she is compliant. So I mainly have been FaceTiming with her, talking to her, things like that. But now, since everything is opening back up and I've been vaccinated and the world is getting back going, we're definitely planning some things because I do miss her.
That's so beautiful. You mentioned when you left the jail system that you put on probation.
Yes.
Usually 3 to 5 years. How you doing that? And after the 5 years, what happens on your journey?
Honestly, I was actually on probation probably for 10 years. I was only supposed to be on probation, I believe, about 3 years, but it kept getting extended because I could not pay my restitution. So every time I couldn't pay my restitution, they revoked my probation and it started over. So I was on probation actually until I paid all of my restitution and got my record expunged. So, but I wasn't worried about it. Obviously, I wasn't trying to do anything wrong. So I didn't believe I would get in trouble. But that was a long journey. But I think what you're also referring to, I think I shared with you guys, when the Board of Behavioral Sciences, which is the board that gave me my associate number to be licensed as a therapist, when they finally gave me that associate number, they put me on probation with the Board of Behavioral Sciences as a therapist. So I am on probation with the board for 5 years. I have to go to therapy once a week in order to be compliant with my probation term. I had to get an assessment done, a psychological exam, and I have to pay restitution each year, $1,200. So for 5 years, I have to comply with all of these things in order to become a fully released therapist with the state of California. And so that's one of the things that I'm actually dealing with now. I have been on probation now about 2 years. So this year I was able to petition the board to get off probation early. So I'm in the process of doing that. I was able to submit letters. I've done everything that they've asked me to do. I still go to therapy once a week, but that's something, once again, that was a blessing for me because it has really helped me. So once again, everything that has happened to me, I used to be angry and ask why, but I don't ask why anymore because God knew what I needed. I needed to be put on probation with the board because I needed to learn more as a therapist. I needed to be put on probation with the board because I needed to be made to go to therapy because prior to that, if they wouldn't have told me to go, I wouldn't have done it. And I would not be where I am now within myself. I needed to be put on academic probation so I could learn more because I did not know everything I needed to know.
5 minutes. So I want to talk on a quick side topic called father wounds. Talk to me about father wounds because the more you know about that, that's going to help you build your relationship. You already have a relationship with your daughters, and
Hmm.
I'm praying that God will give you the right man that will come into your life. And so talk about your daddy wounds, father wounds, and how you're dealing.
I actually have a really good relationship with my father and my stepdad. They are both my dads. My stepdad has been in my life since before I can remember. I love him. He's there for my children. He is the person that I go to pretty much for anything as far as like father type stuff. Um, because if I didn't have him, I don't know where I would be. My dad or my father, he has been there, but he's never really played a role. But my mom didn't allow him to play a role for a long time. So I think he just separated himself and just learned to kind of be on the outside looking in. And so that's the way we built our relationship. So we don't really have a father daughter relationship. It's more of a friend relationship, but that's what we learn works with us. But once again, my stepdad has set the foundation for what a man should do and should not do, within my life, within my daughter's lives. Um, for them, I don't know where they're at within their lives. I know my oldest daughter had her father. I hope that she got a lot of great things from that relationship because that's once again why I made sure she had that relationship with her father and his wife because I felt like she was going to be able to get that foundation from them. My youngest hasn't really had a strong relationship with her dad, so that's once again why we lean on my stepdad for that interaction. So for someone coming in, once again, he's going to have to be solid. I'm not looking for someone that's playing games or doesn't, or that's not even in his children's life if he has children, because that's not something that I'm looking for. We've already experienced that.
So I'm going to do something for you and with you. I want you to pray us out, and then I'm going to close with prayer. I want God to cover you, cover your daughters, and cover your future man. God has already covered your job, and I just want to send blessings your way. You have a powerful story, and God is going to move you. You be the you're going to when there's the next earthquake because of you.
Yes.
Find out Miss Laws is doing something. She's moving. She's shaking. Why don't you pray? Then I'll close with prayer. Thank you for joining us at Hit Live at TRP. And so pray us out right quick.
Okay. So, dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this opportunity for me to share my story tonight. Thank you for giving me the ability to articulate myself. Thank you for the individuals that are watching us tonight. I hope that they really got something from this message. Um, Please bless my family and those in my family that are currently watching. Help them to know that I do love them. I appreciate them. And everything that I've been through was not in vain. I thank everyone who has supported me, the people who have gone on this journey with me, who are still going on this journey with me, and that believe in me. I thank you for never giving up on me, for walking with me every step of the way, and just for continuing to keep me safe and my children safe. Thank you for this show because TRP definitely has given me given me support, shown me that I do still have people out here who are watching me, and just, thank you for everything. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional, but just thank you for putting me in a space where I'm able to speak my truth.
Yeah. Lord Father God, we linger a little longer to say hallelujah. Thank you so much. Thank you for placing your hand over this young lady's life. Thank you for the journey. Be with her as you minister in and around her life. Bless her children. Bless her daughter. Help her to find a good college to go to and keep their relationship. In Jesus' name we pray. I just want to end with this by Dave Willis. He says this, a painful truth is always better than a hidden lie. And my friend, see one thing tonight, you didn't lie.
Yeah.
And God bless you for the hidden truth. Those rivers of joy flooding your soul. Your Lackaman ducts have been activated, and we thank God for that. And please, before the summertime, let's come back and revisit. We won't go entirely. We can think of a subject matter because you have a lot of information that you can share. So
Yes.
once again, thank you for joining us with TRP Live with my good friend. Peace.